gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah.
Finally, the ultimate ultra camera showdown is here. 4 camera giants go head-to-head: OPPO, Xiaomi, Vivo, and iPhone. But if you could pick only one, which delivers the best overall experience? Stick around because by the end, the answer might surprise you.
Big thanks to my tech partner over in China for providing this footage. I really appreciate the support in making this video happen. Hey everyone, Stella here from techiestreet. If you're into staying updated with the newest gadgets, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our latest tech content.
This year's Ultra flagships are more different than ever. The battle is still triple camera versus quad camera. Xiaomi, Vivo, and iPhone stick with 3 cameras, while OPPO pushes further with 4, including a dedicated 10x periscope lens and a massive 300mm optical-style external lens system. Xiaomi has its own trick, a 2e pixel periscope with continuous optical zoom, one of the most innovative ideas we've seen on a phone. Apple takes a different approach with 3 48-megapixel sensors, and when it comes to video, many still consider the iPhone the king. That's exactly why it's in this comparison. Then there's Vivo. Its setup is arguably the most unique. The ultra-wide performs almost like a main camera. It also combines a 35mm 200-megapixel main camera with an 85mm 200-megapixel periscope lens, plus advanced stabilization and dedicated 200 and 400mm lens groups. So yes, choosing between these phones isn't easy, but enough talk, let's jump into the camera test. One quick note, every sample you're about to see was shot on full autofocus. I only pressed the shutter. Let's start with the ultra-wide cameras. In these daytime shots, the iPhone already shows some visible noise. Vivo stands out with cleaner detail and better sharpness across the frame. In the next stylized samples, Xiaomi's Leica monochrome filter and Vivo's black and white mode clearly take the lead. Both capture noticeably more detail than OPPO and iPhone. Now for nighttime ultra-wide shots. Vivo pulls ahead again, and the gap gets even bigger in low light. Sharpness, dynamic range, and detail are all easier to spot here. Right now, Vivo is arguably the strongest ultra-wide shooter among these ultra flagships. Next, the main cameras, where things get really interesting. Xiaomi, OPPO, and iPhone all use a 23mm main camera, so the jump from ultra-wide doesn't feel huge. Vivo goes with a 35mm main camera, and that completely changes the experience. Many photographers call 35mm the golden focal length because it feels much closer to natural human vision. That's why 23mm often requires you to move closer or zoom in. The closer you get to 35mm, the more natural and realistic your shots look. As a result, OPPO, Xiaomi, and iPhone work better for wider scenes, while Vivo shines between 35 and 70mm. In these samples, Vivo's detail advantage is immediately obvious. For color, Xiaomi's Leica Classic profile looks especially attractive straight out of the camera. Vivo's 35mm sensor also impresses in low light, where its extra detail becomes even more noticeable. Looking at tonal rendering, Xiaomi and Vivo create the most eye-catching images. OPPO pushes contrast harder, sometimes losing highlight control, while Apple's look remains flatter and more neutral. At 50mm, especially under challenging wall lighting, Vivo delivers the strongest overall result. Vivo and Xiaomi offer richer contrast and depth, while OPPO and iPhone brighten scenes more aggressively. Now let's move to telephoto, the category where these phones differ the most. OPPO starts at 70mm, Xiaomi at 75mm with continuous optical zoom to 100mm, Vivo at 85mm, and iPhone jumps straight to 100. That gives OPPO an edge around 70mm and Xiaomi an advantage between 75 and 100mm. Overall, OPPO, Xiaomi, and Vivo feel more flexible than the iPhone when switching focal lengths. Among photographers, 85mm is a favorite for portraits. Xiaomi and Vivo can shoot it natively. OPPO needs a small crop, and the iPhone can't properly recreate it since its telephoto starts at 100. In these daytime telephoto samples, all three Android phones produce more pleasing images than the iPhone. When you zoom in, Xiaomi and Vivo clearly lead in detail. At 200mm, every phone relies on cropping. Here, the iPhone shows some glare issues, while Xiaomi and Vivo avoid them completely. Once again, those two lead in fine detail. These nighttime telephoto shots are especially interesting. Which one would you choose? Xiaomi's Leica Classic look stands out with minimal sharpening. Vivo delivers stronger contrast and punchier colors. OPPO focuses on brightness and light separation, while Apple remains the flattest. At nighttime 200mm, the difference between Apple and the others is visible before zooming in. Looking closer, all four use software processing, but Vivo's results feel slightly more refined. So, in real-world 10x zoom photography, Vivo currently offers the strongest all-around performance. Xiaomi's Leica Classic tuning uses lighter processing, which can sometimes make it look slightly less impressive at first glance.
OPPO's image processing still needs a little refinement, but if OPPO improves its software, its camera system could become even more competitive. And here's where things get interesting. At 230mm, OPPO has a major advantage because its native 10x telephoto lens is doing the work, while Xiaomi, Vivo, and iPhone rely mostly on cropping. That gives OPPO a clear edge. You can see it in these samples. Compare a true 10x optical lens against crop zoom, and the difference shows up in text clarity and fine details. The gap isn't massive, but it's definitely there. The next comparison tells the same story. The iPhone still produces decent results, but it falls behind the three Chinese flagships in detail. OPPO also handles text and subject separation better. Overall, at 230mm, the domestic flagships clearly outperform Apple, with OPPO leading the pack. Push all the way to 690mm, around 30x zoom, and the differences become even more obvious. The iPhone starts struggling. Xiaomi and Vivo hold up well, but OPPO gains a slight advantage. Look closely at the details and you'll see why. In fact, with just a bit more sharpening, OPPO's lead could be even bigger. In this daylight 690mm sample, OPPO really shines whenever the 10x lens fully kicks in. That's why its overall resolution looks stronger than Xiaomi and Vivo. But image quality isn't the whole story. I also spent time testing each camera app and shooting experience, and there are some interesting differences. Take high-resolution mode. OPPO can automatically enable high-pixel shooting in bright conditions, which is super convenient. The downside, its manual 50MP and 200MP modes only work at specific focal lengths. Xiaomi works similarly. Vivo takes a different approach. Its 50MP mode supports continuous zoom from 14mm all the way to 230mm, plus a dedicated 200MP teleconverter mode. Apple shoots at 24MP by default and supports up to 40x zoom. And honestly, the more flexibility a flagship gives you, the more creative freedom you have. Now let's talk video, the category where many people still say the iPhone dominates, but in 2026, that might not be true anymore. Just look at telephoto video. The gap is already obvious. Compared to previous generations, the Chinese flagships have improved dramatically, and in low-light telephoto video, Apple's stabilization simply can't keep up with Vivo, OPPO, and Xiaomi. For image quality, Vivo's native 85mm lens goes head-to-head with the iPhone's native 100mm lens. Vivo delivers better detail and stronger stabilization. Add OPPO's 10x periscope into the mix, and the difference becomes even harder to ignore. Apple performs much better during daytime telephoto video, but the Chinese flagships stay consistently strong in every lighting condition. The iPhone is still excellent, just no longer untouchable. Now let's compare ultra-wide video with Vivo. Why only Vivo? Because its ultra-wide camera performs almost like a flagship main camera. In the 10x video test, Vivo matches the iPhone in stabilization and actually looks sharper in resolution. So after seeing this, does the iPhone still completely dominate video? Next comes nighttime ultra-wide video, and honestly, the conclusion stays the same. Apple is no longer the clear leader here. Of course, if you want maximum video quality, log recording is still king. It unlocks far more creative flexibility. But switching to log is easy. The hard part is color grading afterward. That's why OPPO, Vivo, and Xiaomi now include built-in 3D LUT support. You can apply LUTs directly in the Gallery app, making cinematic edits much easier for everyday users. And when we look at video specs, the real differences between these phones become crystal clear. Xiaomi supports 8K 30 FPS across multiple zoom ranges, including 2x, 3.2 to 4.3x, and even 8.6x. Vivo supports recording across the full zoom range. OPPO lacks ultra-wide support in some of its highest-end recording modes. Apple still doesn't offer 8K 30 FPS or 4K 120 FPS Dolby Vision recording. Xiaomi also supports many of these advanced modes in both standard and log shooting. OPPO supports most of them too, but misses ultra-wide support in modes like 4K 120 FPS log, 4K 180 Dolby Vision, and 8K 30 FPS. Among all four phones, Vivo stands alone. It's the only device capable of shooting 4K 120 FPS 10-bit log across the entire zoom range. It's also the only one offering 4K 120 FPS Dolby Vision across the full zoom range. Considering how strong its ultra-wide camera is, that makes perfect sense. But we're not finished yet. We still need to talk about external lenses. Both OPPO and Vivo offer official teleconverters. Vivo gives users two choices, 200mm and 400mm, while OPPO provides a dedicated 300mm option. Place them side by side and the size difference is immediately noticeable. Looking at the first 400mm samples, both perform incredibly well. Vivo captures slightly more detail, but the gap is surprisingly small. In low light, the difference shrinks even further, though Vivo still handles tiny details like screws on window frames a bit better. Move up to 800mm and the improvement over standard smartphone zoom becomes obvious. Both are highly usable in daylight, with Vivo maintaining a small lead. In low light, OPPO actually preserves detail better than expected, but Vivo's image processing and tuning remains stronger overall. Finally, at 1600mm, both phones deliver surprisingly impressive results. Still, OPPO's image processing has room for improvement. With a little more optimization, its results could be even more impressive.
Before we wrap up, one important note. Every photo in this comparison was shot handheld, no tripod. If a tripod had been used, image quality and stability would have been even better across the board. The same applies to all the low-light samples. Now, let's push things to the extreme, 3200mm zoom. At this level, both phones start struggling when shooting handheld. OPPO enables AI Superlight by default, while Vivo leaves its telephoto enhancement off at first. But once you turn it on, the difference is obvious. If you're planning to shoot at crazy zoom levels like this, it's a feature you'll definitely want to use. And honestly, this is exactly why these external telephoto lenses are becoming so popular. Whether you're at a concert, a sports event, or shooting something incredibly far away, they unlock shots that simply weren't possible on smartphones before. So after everything you've seen, have you decided which phone has the best camera system? What I'm even more curious about is this. Has your opinion on Chinese flagship video recording changed? Especially in low light, their ultra-wide and telephoto video performance now beats Apple in many situations. Add features like built-in 3D LUT support, direct gallery editing, and a much easier log workflow, and the entire experience feels far more creator-friendly. At this point, it's widely accepted that Ultra flagships have already surpassed Apple in several camera categories, so there's not much left to debate there. That said, each Chinese Ultra flagship has its own strengths. Starting with Vivo, it stands out for ultra-wide quality, overall video performance, and teleconverter results. Combined with its external lens ecosystem, it delivers one of the most complete camera experiences available today. Then there's Xiaomi.
Its video specs and high-resolution shooting modes truly deserve the Ultra branding. Leica Classic tuning produces fantastic images straight out of the camera, and the continuous optical zoom system packed into such a compact device is seriously impressive. Honestly, it feels like Xiaomi is building towards something even bigger. Right now, the only thing missing is an official teleconverter accessory. As for OPPO, integrating a native 10x periscope lens directly into the phone is a huge achievement. Its biggest advantage appears in low light when that 10x lens kicks in. However, in the more commonly used 3 to 10x range, Vivo and Xiaomi still have a slight edge at certain focal lengths. The 300mm teleconverter also performs very well, though future versions could definitely be smaller. Now, let's quickly move beyond cameras and talk about battery life and gaming. I tested all 4 phones in 3 battery drain tests, starting at 100% and running until shutdown. Apple finished lower in the rankings, while OPPO delivered stronger endurance thanks to its larger battery. For gaming, Apple's chip remains very powerful, but despite not pushing extremely high rendering resolutions, it still generates noticeable heat under heavy loads. OPPO takes a more aggressive approach, allowing higher frame rates while accepting higher temperatures. Vivo and Xiaomi go the opposite direction, slightly reducing frame rates to keep temperatures lower during long gaming sessions. When it comes to software, I personally feel iOS 26 still has some usability issues. ProMotion frame rate management and the continued reliance on left-side back gestures make long-term use less comfortable. iOS has improved a lot, but there are still areas where it needs more time to regain its reputation. On the Android side, I believe HiOS and ColorOS 16 currently offer 2 of the best overall software experiences in the industry, both in polish and user satisfaction. So now it's time for the final question. You've seen all 4 devices. If you could only choose one, which would it be? Let me know in the comments. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!